We are here at Redline Radio for the We Like Sports podcast. My name is Riggs, along with...
Oh, yeah, that's me. It's Peyton. One of these microphones are bound to be on.
We hope everyone's doing okay in this time. We're not going to talk about the C word like we talked about last week. Other than that...
We are a social distance away, though, so that's a positive.
That is a positive for everybody watching or listening to this podcast. We want to hope you guys subscribe to all of our social media. I don't want to sound like a walking billboard, but we have T-shirts.
Yeah, fancy T-shirts. I mean, we didn't even plan this. We just wore these shirts together.
I think you guys planned it.
No, honestly, we didn't.
No, I was wearing my Death Row actual T-shirt, not my tank top.
Riggs was too busy smoking weed before the show that he just threw on a shirt, and it just so happened to be that shirt was a We Like Sports podcast shirt that could be found at teespring.com. That was a quick plug.
Yes, it was, and plus because my back's been killing me.
Yeah, you gotta quit doing that thing. Tiff's, your T-shirt is in the mail. Actually, I do have it at the house. I have to deliver it to you, but with social distancing, we have to stay away from each other. So, but next time I do see you, we will deliver that T-shirt. Riggs and I personally. As long as his back doesn't hurt, we'll be over to work out at some point.
Oh, Tiff. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
All right. But, yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the social media, Twitter is at We Like Sports PC. Instagram is the same, at We Like Sports PC. We do have a YouTube channel now as well, which is We Like Sports Podcast. I had to think for a second. I almost said it's a youtube.com, which would have been extremely obvious, but our YouTube is the We Like Sports Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to that. We're also posting the live stream video as well on the YouTube page, so make sure to subscribe, leave us a like. Coming up on today's show too, also Facebook, we have the We Like Sports Podcast Facebook page as well, but with a little bit of a preview for the show, we do have a action-packed show for you. As mentioned, it is only Riggs and I. Keith is gone for today just because of the fact that he had some family situations going on, but it is what it is. All the best to him. We do miss him.
Come back soon.
Yeah,
take your time.
Come back next week if you can.
Yeah, take your time, man. Shit.
But as mentioned, that we do have NFL to talk about. We do have some NCAA football to talk about, the coronavirus itself, and we also, yeah, I know I said the word, but I mean, we'll try to prevent it as much as possible. I think, a dollar in the C jar. But yeah, we also have two interviews too. One of those interviews from a minor league baseball player for the Los Angeles Angels, Max Herman. He will be on the show a little bit later. Tune in about 35 minutes from now, about the 8 o'clock hour, we'll be interviewing Max Herman. And then also we will be interviewing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan as well regarding Tom Brady. A little backstory really quick. I put in the group chat that we're going to end up interviewing a Buccaneers fan to talk about Tom Brady. And Riggs last night thought that we were interviewing Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was a little bit, well, you know what I was doing. I was partaking in what we call California hospitality, and I, skimmed through the message because I was playing a video game that had me frustrated, and I seen that, and I said, wait, no the fuck we're not, and then I messaged you again about that, and turned out I'm like, yeah, okay, I was wrong, but hey, either way, interviewing anybody on this podcast is a great thing. I'm being humble and being complete honest, but damn, like,
we're not that big yet to get Tom Brady himself, but
I understood, right? Like I said, it was I was a little self-medicated when
I mean, it happens. You did it twice today or twice in the last 2 days, whatever. Yeah, anyways, though, we are talking NFL. We'll jump into the NFL, but before we end up going to our next break around 8 o'clock, so why not talk about the NFL? Riggs, so Cam Newton got released by the Carolina Panthers. Is that a shock to you at all by any chance, just to see the way that his career kind of went on a downhill spiral? What are your thoughts on Cam Newton just kind of falling off of the face of the earth?
Not a shock to me at all. I knew he wasn't going to stay the rest of his career with Carolina. If he wasn't always going to be there? Like, okay, like didn't he have like a car accident like a year or so ago?
Yeah, I think he also had like an accident. The motorcycle accident was Cleveland's own Kellen Winslow, but that's a different story and a different topic. But
Right, but still, so
yeah,
like
Cam
that-
Newton also had like the injury. I mean, he's just in general injury prone. It's hard to believe he was a first overall pick at one point.
Maybe that Super Bowl loss really just shook him down, and because I felt like we haven't seen the same Cam Newton since that Super Bowl.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, because ever since then, it just his confidence as a player, and then also Greg Olsen, him and his injuries. Who else was his target? Yeah, McCaffrey. But how many times can a running back get beat on?
Yeah, it's Steve Smith.
Oh shit! Yep.
Yeah, he did have Steve Smith for a while. He had Kelvin Benjamin.
Philly Brown.
I mean, they had a decent team. I think honestly that Teddy Bridgewater, who the Panthers ended up signing as their new starting quarterback, I think he's going to be more successful than Cam Newton. Also, really just to kind of put specifics to it and enlighten people. If you didn't realize it or not, Kyle Allen, the backup quarterback that started after Cam Newton got hurt, was traded away to the Redskins, actually had returned picks and whatnot, and actually was worth something, and Cam Newton got nothing in return whatsoever. They couldn't even trade him for a pop machine.
So what does that tell you how the franchise feels about Cam Newton?
I mean,
I would feel some type of way, honestly, if I was Cam Newton. But at the end of the day, it is a business, which us as fans have to stop watching sports with our hearts on our sleeves, and that's very hard to do. At the end of the day, so.
Really weird fact, really quick though. I just went on Twitter. The Cheesecake Factory's trending. I wonder why.
Who knows?
Baker Mayfield might know.
What would be crazy? Speaking of the Cheesecake Factory, it would be crazy if someone that worked at the Cheesecake Factory, like the owner or somebody, came out with a personal cheesecake after Baker Mayfield.
What would call it the blowy?
Or it comes with a candle you have to blow out.
What would you call your cheesecake if you were Baker Mayfield? That sounds like a name for your dick.
Baked.
Baked?
See, I'm going baked because that's the stoner in me. Baked Mayfield, but because I don't want to get weird and call it like a gummy Mayfield.
No, you can call it anything you want. It's your cake.
A creamy Baker.
Well, man, what would I call my cheesecake after that?
You get 6 of them in a box for Valentine's Day for your lady.
Chocolates?
Whatever. I mean,
Or cheesecake?
No, the Baker cheesecake. If they were to do that, I don't know.
A 6-pack bundle?
See, yeah.
Oh man, but I'm trying to think of what I would name. If I had the honor to actually have a cheesecake named after me because of an infamous stunt, pretty much allegedly pulled, like Baker Mayfield, what would I name my cheesecake? I think I wouldn't even name my cheesecake. I think I'd come up with a flavor, like an exotic flavor that I just want specifically, and that would be my treat afterwards. But
if I was to give fellatio behind a Cheesecake Factory and they were wanting to honor me or be petty about the situation, I would want it to be called the parking lot.
that
Just call it the parking lot patty.
Oh, okay.
If you're calling it the parking lot, it sounds like if you include after what happens, that usually means there's a baby on the way. See, you get it. How many times has that happened for you?
A baby?
The
I can't remember, bro.
Anyways, going back to the Chargers. So somebody on Twitter pointed out
2 pregnancy scares, but that's the we're talking
yes,
about.
That's
yeah,
the
two.
All right. So, anyways, going back to Cam Newton, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit. Somebody on Twitter mentioned that the Chargers make too much sense for Cam Newton to be there. Obviously, they don't have Phillip Rivers anymore. He is now with the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Lynn, who I believe is the GM of the Chargers, wants a mobile quarterback. They are moving to a new stadium. They're going to be playing at that LA stadium along with the Rams. They need to create buzz and add star power. That's what they could do with Cam Newton as well. They could sell some jerseys, sell some tickets. That goes right into the next point, too. Will help sell tickets. and fans will buy powder blue Cam Newton jerseys, but nobody is willing to buy Tyrod Taylor jerseys.
Where the hell is he playing at right now?
Tyrod is
Taylor?
the starting quarterback as of right now for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Damn.
So you have the mobile quarterback. Tyrod Taylor, I believe, is a little bit younger than Cam Newton. I don't know by how much.
Is he?
I think he's like 32, maybe 29, 30, 32.
31? No, 30, and Cam Newton's 30. They're about the same age. So, I mean, overall, you're not really getting any youth whatsoever. But, yeah, I mean, Cam Newton to the Chargers, if Cam Newton does become pretty much a starter anywhere, where would you say Cam Newton goes, Riggs? What would be? I mean, there's a lot of openings. The Patriots have an opening. The Chargers do now. Tampa Bay no longer does.
Kevin.
Keith's last name.
Yeah,
Migra.
Migra says.
Let's go with that.
Kevin Migra says the Chargers or the Redskins.
The Redskins could definitely use it.
Yeah, they could.
That could kind of be more so a mentor for Dwayne Haskins. I like that move if that happens. If he goes anywhere, I would definitely prefer the fact that if he does end up starting and kind of take somebody underneath their wing and actually teach them and develop them into a quarterback, somebody that needs it the most is Dwayne Haskins. He was so screwed up his last year of being a starter and then not a starter and flip-flopping back and forth for him. It really sucked for him because that was his rookie year too. So Cam Newton, learning a little bit from him, that would be awesome.
Mike Vallon says cake for him is go-go.
Cake me up before you go.
See, that makes sense. The Redskins.
That's his flavor for Cheesecake Factory.
That does make sense because I'm thinking of every other team. I'm like, okay, San Francisco, they have a quarterback. Seattle, don't even look in that direction. You know, Oakland has this quarterback. Like, it seems like everyone has their guy already set to go whenever the hell training camp can start with this pandemic fucking clears up. So
Adam Wissinger says no way for the Redskins. Him and Ron Rivera don't like each other.
Oh, son of
shit.
a bitch.
Yeah, I forgot about Ron Rivera. That's true because Ron Rivera kind of ruined his life.
Good attention to detail.
Wow.
Good attention
Adam,
to
way
detail.
to point that out. We appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah, I completely forgot that.
So now we let's shake up the snow globe once again and exclude out the Redskins and let's figure out. Okay, what if Cincinnati doesn't go with Joe Burrow?
They're taking Joe Burrow.
There's
If
no
they're
doubt.
smart,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's no doubt.
Okay, now let's get
I could see
Cincinnati the
Chicago.
fuck out of there.
Chicago
the Bears?
already has backup. They have
Who'd
two
they
quarterbacks.
get? They had Mitch Trubisky and they signed somebody last week.
Right.
Shit. Who did they get? They got They got Mitch Trubisky and
Man, they need to update this shit on Google.
All right, now let's keep going. Green Bay, they're good. Who does Miami have? What are they? It's not Ryan Fitzpatrick, is it?
I think that's who they're going. No. Jacksonville has Gardner Minshew. They're not going anywhere. I think Miami still has Ryan Fitzpatrick.
they're drafting Tua.
Yeah, that's true. So, but like, let's just go with what we actually know right now, though. Too,
Adam,
because
who did Chicago sign as their backup quarterback? It's right on the tip of my tongue. As soon as he says it, I know.
Are you Googling it or do you?
I'm trying to, but they don't actually have like anything whatsoever. Let me just look up Chicago Bears so I could try to beat Adam to the punch. But yeah, I mean,
Nick Foles.
Yeah, that's who they traded for. Yep,
Nick Foles.
That I had the right idea. I just said Jacksonville, but I absolutely forgot who they ended up going for.
Adam
So,
says, "Why not? Miami could groom the quarterback they drafted. He's not grooming. Tua.
yeah, I
No.
think Tua. If he ends up
Fitzpatrick's a
getting
better.
drafted, he has to start.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick's a better leader than
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
And plus, Fitzpatrick also has so much years behind him too. So I mean, obviously, you would expect. I just saw New York Giants pop up, but I don't like that because you have what's his face,
Danny Dimes.
yeah, Daniel Jones. So I don't see
The
that
Jets
happening.
already have too much going on right now.
Yeah, they have Sam I catch mono every Monday. Darnold.
Right.
Tennessee Titans, I don't see because they already have Ryan Tannehill. It's very difficult. I could honestly see Cam Newton not starting. There's not too many
No
availabilities.
Minnesota, no,
Minnesota
like,
already
right.
has Kirk Cousins. And they also
Detroit-
have a couple backups.
Detroit's
Detroit.
got Stafford.
Still, damn.
When do you end up giving up on Stafford, though?
True.
Is this the year that you end up giving up on Stafford?
I think so. And this is something that might happen. I've been hearing this. Stafford might get traded on draft day and Detroit move up to take Tua.
I seen that too because Detroit went
That's-
3-12-1 last year,
That's a sleeper. I would not expect that.
and right now they currently have the 3rd overall selection. So all they have to do is honestly move up one spot, and they could end up going for Tua, or else they could end up possibly trying to grab him at 3. Yeah, Stafford's been around forever. So honestly,
What's
I
he,
mean,
32, 33?
32, and he's played 10. This
Right,
would be
this
his
is-
11th year.
What have
with
you done for me
Detroit.
lately? Situation.
If I was Detroit, I'd be trading him away.
But what do you ask for him? What's he worth?
Shit.
What's he worth? If you can't get nothing for Cam, you say Cam's a better quarterback than
Second or
Stafford.
third round pick?
Yeah, he's not a first-round
Right.
pick. I'd say I was thinking 3rd. So I mean, ideally, I'd say 2nd or 3rd. 2nd if you're lucky, but maybe give me like 2 third-round picks for Stafford and go
He's
from
got
there.
a big contract though, doesn't he?
I
he's
think
like
he's
the
near
f-
the tail end.
I think he's like in the top 5 in top 6 in quarterback pays.
He's got to be.
Right now, he is signed to a 5-year, $135 million contract. Yeah, that's another thing, too. Signed until 2023. So
Who wants to pick up that money?
here's what I do. If I'm Detroit, here's what I'm going to do. If I decide to trade him and I get a draft pick, I'd be satisfied with whatever you give me. If you give me a 7th-round pick, well, actually, he has an out in 2021. So after this next year, he has an out. So it's not necessarily 2023 that it's 100% certain that he's going to be a free agent. After 2021, he can get out of his contract, or the team, I'm assuming, can. So by that, I either have Detroit get whatever draft pick whatsoever, and in return, with whatever team I trade him to, plan on eating a bunch of that contract.
Or what about Pittsburgh?
Is somebody's phone on?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Adam ended up mentioning, is there a possibility Cam doesn't sign anywhere and sits out next pretty much the whole entire year? I honestly think that's the direction you end up going. I don't know about sitting out. I don't know if he goes with the Cam Newton or the Colin Kaepernick treatment, but I think reality is going to smack him like a bitch in the face because he's going to be a backup. Jameis Winston, too, is also not going to be a starter anywhere either.
Let me ask you this, Peyton. You're a Steelers fan.
Yes.
If you had to pick between Cam and Jameis Winston as your backup for Ben, who you taking?
Ideally, probably Jameis Winston.
Is
Because
it because
I don't
he's
want-
younger?
He's younger, and he's also came again, like Riggs mentioned, a "what have you done for me lately" situation. Even though Jameis Winston had terrible numbers with his touchdown to interception ratio, Cam Newton hasn't played a full season, and I don't even know how long. I think 3 years now. So overall, I mean, Cam Newton, if he's not, I feel like if Pittsburgh would have ended up wanting to actually have him at quarterback, they would have traded for him. But there's
well,
nothing
now that he's
there.
a free agent, you have the opportunity to sign him. So, what do you think he's worth? What do you think he'll get on a free agent market on a 1-year deal?
So Cam Newton hasn't played a full season in 3 of the last 4 seasons. In 2017, he played 16 games.
Okay, that's a full season, right?
Yeah,
16?
2018, 14 games. 2019, 2 starts. But if we're talking about Cam Newton, what can we get for him? Cam Newton, I mean, I think Matthew Stafford you could get definitely a 3rd round if you have to end up picking between pretty much Cam Newton, Matthew Stafford, especially on draft day. Cam Newton, I mean, what am I'm not even going to, like, because you don't have to worry about draft picks because you're going to end up signing them. If anything, I mean, 1 year, he'd be lucky to get $2 million as a backup.
See, I think that he's worth a little bit more than that. I think anywhere from the $6 to $8 million range that him or Jameis got to settle for in order to get with the team. But here's a couple spots that I think that he can go and be a backup and be a little successful. New Orleans, I know that they're high on what's his name?
Taysom
Hill. But you can still go in there because Breeze is 41. You can still go in there and be like a Teddy Bridgewater, maybe come in and play a couple games, win them a couple games. I see him going to Cincinnati to be a backup with them because there's a lot of talk of Cincinnati trading Andy Dalton for another second or third round pick to the Patriots. So I don't know, man. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean.
Also, will you bring up the Patriots, too? Somebody on my Facebook, I saw, this wasn't recently, but somebody from my Facebook ended up mentioning the fact, and I want to get to this before break, but the possibility that if the Patriots ended up trading for Mitch Trubisky, how it would make sense and how it would help out his career, because, I mean, who actually fails with Bill Belichick as their head coach? And Trubisky's young, too.
Well, I mean, are they talking as a starting quarterback or are they talking as a quarterback in general? Because there's been a lot of backup quarterbacks from New England that hasn't done anything.
Well, I'm thinking they're talking about starter. So
well,
I mean,
nobody knows who. Bledsoe went on to Dallas. He had a decent season. Then he went on to Buffalo. He had a pretty good year. Then he left. They had Brady. It's yet to be determined.
Right, but. I mean, yeah, it's yet to be determined, but I feel like if anybody deserves an ample opportunity to actually be a starter, it would be Mitch because he's somebody that's young. He's somebody that lost all confidence within the last 2 years because he went from being a top 5 draft pick to Patrick Mahomes being drafted after him, being more successful, now having a Super Bowl ring. You have... Then after Patrick Mahomes, I mean, there's so many quarterbacks too. Mitch Trubisky just got drafted so early on, and he didn't perform as the type of quarterback they actually wanted or needed. So if he does go to New England, I think if you do go to New England, you need him to actually start, and you hope that Bill Belichick could help him figure out his career because he doesn't have to be long-term, but he could be somebody that could be there for 3 to 4 years, help him out, help him actually pretty much rejuvenate his career as a whole, and then go from there.
I could see Mitch going there. I could see him going there.
Maybe not no ill will towards the Chicago Bears front office, but maybe they ruined him. Maybe they broke him. Maybe he was trying to do so good and they destroyed his confidence.
I get that too, and I could understand that.
And they could have. What was it like 2 years ago? If the kicker didn't blow the field goal, they could have made the playoffs. So that's not entirely his fucking fault right there.
I mean, look at it this way though. This has been who Mitch Trubisky has been throwing to. And obviously New England, I mean, they have an undersized wide receiver in Julian Edelman, and that's about it when it comes to New England. But you have Tariq Cohen, David Montgomery as your running backs. Your wide receivers are Cordero Patterson, I can't say that rolling off the tongue. Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Anthony Miller, and Riley Ridley.
Taylor Gabriel's a fucking beast.
But those are his wide receivers. Taylor Gabriel isn't that big of a target.
True. But he is a beast. I've seen his fantasy points.
Trey Burton is his tight end.
He's a beast in fantasy. I mean, he's a decent receiver.
Why does Riley Ridley sound like a porn star's name?
It does, but it's like nothing's registering.
It's like that one guy that used to be on our show, the last name Ryder Reed.
Oh, so you don't talk about him no more.
That hurt my back.
We talk about him on occasion, but it's not like he's tuning in, unfortunately. If he is, though, he just got a shout out for free, so until next time. Yeah, but I mean, and I'm starting to kind of contradict myself now, too, because if you have Taylor Gabriel, you have Cordero Patterson, that one was easy to say, Anthony Miller, Allen Robinson, you have some guys that are actually decent size. With New England, you don't really have outstanding wide receivers, so how are you going to actually be successful there? I'm starting to contradict myself because is Chicago actually, did they end up showing that Mitch Trubisky can amount up to nothing? Or is it just the scenery? He needs a change of scenery.
Hey, can I ask you this real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Cam Newton to Pittsburgh. I know it may not happen. It may happen. But Cam Newton to Pittsburgh, and he sits a year behind Ben and earns his way to be – can you count on him again to be a franchise quarterback still at 31 if he's healthy.
So let's say like Ben Roethlisberger ends up retiring after this year, like the rumors say.
Yes.
Man. So here's the thing. If I had a choice between Jameis Winston and Cam Newton, I would, in same situation, same scenario, in which who would be able to start and actually become successful and let's say ride off into the sunset and become that franchise QB for the Steelers, I would have to say I trust Jameis Winston more than I trust Cam Newton, just because of the youth, just because Jameis Winston did have some success. He isn't necessarily as injury prone, and the Steelers, point blank, they are not going to be successful if they have Mason Rudolph, Devlin Hodges. Those guys are not going to lead you anywhere outside of a 500 record. But Cam Newton is not your guy. And you're not going to... I don't see the Steelers drafting a quarterback either, because everybody they draft, they have never seen that overall first-round draft pick overall. And look who joins us. Ryder Reed himself. That's kind of ironic.
Isn't it ironic?
Oh, man. But
Don't you think?
Yeah, that's
but, I mean, what... Like, I'm still trying to figure that out, though. If New England... Let's check this out really quick before we end up heading to break. New England has a bunch of undersized wide receivers, Julian Edelman being one of them.
yeah. Wes Welker was a tiny ass.
Yeah,
wide
they don't have
receiver, too.
Gronk either because he's in WWE now.
On a 3-year deal.
One of their standout guys for New England, you have James White, Sony Mitchell, Rex Burkhead. Those are about it. Right now, your starting quarterbacks are Cody Kessler, or not your starting quarterbacks, but your 2 out of the 3 people in your depth chart are Cody Kessler and Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, Brian Hoyer.
But Julian Edelman, Devin Ross, who I believe played for Cincinnati, and Mohamed Sanu, those are about the only couple wide receivers for New England that even stand out that I'm familiar with. So,
Facts.
but, I mean,
It's not like if they get a quarterback, Brady's like, hey, look, all these toys you get to throw to and pass to. So it's not like they're going to be buying a lemon.
So-
Depends on their contracts of the receivers and offensive linemen and everybody else. And who knows? That franchise is probably going to be so shook now. Have those players going to be, look, it's not the same without him here. Maybe I should go off into the sunset my damn self.
so before we ended up heading to break here really quick,
Fourth
Riggs,
time you said that.
are you counting? Are you having a tally
that's
sheet,
not
you
real-
piece of shit?
No, that's not really the tally sheet, but you said it a few times.
Oh, man. But before we go to break, that was for Riggs at that time, do you think for the Patriots, was it the quarterback that made the team or the team that made the quarterback? Honestly, I think it's the quarterback that made the team. I don't think New England would be successful otherwise, and you could consider that a hot take too. I don't care what you guys think. If you guys think that I'm wrong, go to our Twitter, comment on the live stream, whatever. Twitter's
Call on
at
the
We
show.
Like Sports PC. Yeah, call on the show.
We're to 9:30.
We do have an interview coming up, though, so don't call just yet. We could end up calling around that 9 o'clock hour, though. So, Riggs, quick opinion really here, and then we'll end up having you read that sponsor for the lube.
Our favorite sponsor.
Your favorite sponsor.
Okay, my favorite sponsor.
So, you're going to answer the question?
No, I just got it. Okay, what's the question?
Did the quarterback make the team or the team make the quarterback for New England?
Oh, I thought that's what we're gonna come back to that on break.
No.
I think the quarterback made the team.
All right, that's it. Now, Riggs, go to the sponsor really quick, and then we're going to end up heading out of here.
Helping Hands Moving Service. Jen and Dave. Call 216-862-6955. If you need help moving anything, just give Jen and Dave a call at Helping Hands Moving Service at 216-682-6955. And also, speaking of hands-on moving, you also got Lubrication Lumber Supply. Norwalk, Ohio, we provide lubricants for a wide range of applicants on and off-road farming, excavating, metalworking, trucking, food grade, and some aerosol sprays. Call Kevin or Jim in the field or track. Let us put you on the winner circle. Lubrication Supply, LLC, Norwalk, Ohio, 330-813-2305.
Man, he's getting
Motherfucker.
good at that. And welcome back to the We Like Sports podcast. Very emotional music going on right there. But yeah, as mentioned, we do have an interview coming up momentarily with Max Herman. But as we were saying, though, before, man, he's right on cue.
feeling that ringtone.
How's it going, Max?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Good. How are you, bud?
Doing all right.
That's
Enjoying
nice.
the night.
All right. So obviously we ended up talking. Max Herman. Why don't you give us a little bit of a background for our viewers before we get things started in this interview right here? I know obviously you have some downtime right now, so what's your background, Max? I know that you play for the Angels, or you're playing the Angels system as a minor league pitcher, but give the rest of the audience a little bit of details about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, actually from New Jersey originally, and I went to University of Rhode Island for 1 year to play baseball there. Didn't work out. Actually lost my scholarship, and it was baseball related. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue playing or not. But essentially, that summer I had a good summer in the Hamptons Collegiate League, and then went on to play. Got a chance to message Rutgers, and which is also in New Jersey, and got a chance to really just walk on there, get it, and just wanted an opportunity really to pitch, get out there and play, because I didn't get that at Rhode Island, and went on to play there for 4 years and had the all-time. I think I had the saves. So all-time. I was a closer there, so I had like saves and appearances. I was pretty high up there, and I don't know if I had one or two in that, but and it was our captain by our senior year, so it really turned around my baseball career, and I was really passionate about getting better and working hard, and then went on after that. Obviously, thought I was going to get drafted. I had a bunch of teams in the mix, but being a fifth-year senior was kind of, was a kind of and a closer or a reliever, one-inning reliever was also a turnoff for some clubs, but essentially went on to sign my first non-drafted free agent contract with the LA Angels in 2017. So now here I am, entering my 4th year.
So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I want to say, I'm making an educated guess here. I was on MLB.com. I searched your name. It said that you were assigned to the Los Angeles Angels in February. Does that mean that you got to experience spring training before all this underwent?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I probably should have started with that. I had been at MLB minicamp spring training, and what that is there's about like a select group of about 8 to 10 pitchers that report kind of under the radar to the minor league facility and get the whole place to themselves, and get picked up and go to the games and go to the big league facilities for the games. And you'll see those guys pretty early on to protect the likes of like a Dylan Bundy or folks like that, who are only at 1 inning or 2 innings, and then we're in the bullpen if they take a liner off the shoulder to get in there, or if somebody twists an ankle, to kind of back them up.
Oh,
but
wow.
It's, it's called MLB minicamp. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Nice.
Also, I mean, obviously the coronavirus, that's how we ended up pretty much meeting up, was that I want to give the backstory really quick, but Max and I actually ended up engaging with each other on Twitter, and he pretty much was just looking for some sports podcasts to listen to in the downtime, and somehow miraculously he found us.
Nice. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty for the most pretty basic. I just kind of typed in the search bar, sports, and was just scrolling through, and I had gone through a lot. So, when I went to your guys' podcast, obviously I listened to a couple, and here we are. Who would have thought with this, pandemic, or even what we thought it was about a month ago, we would be in this position with, kind of sports all locked up right now, but it is crazy out there.
Also, too, I mean, not only just that, but if that would have been the actual, the fact of what was going on, if sports were still going, the big league ball clubs would end up having opening day, if not today. I know for a fact the Indians they were going to have their opening day tomorrow, so that makes it even more ironic, just the timing of everything. But, Max,
really.
Obviously, with the COVID-19 issue, you're obviously not able to do too much. Everything is essentially shut down. What are you doing currently to stay loose in your downtime of not having any baseball and not being able to necessarily train?
Yeah, It's a great question. I mean, I'm. It's funny that you say that because I was actually looking earlier today and I saw, one of my teammates posted a video of him playing catch day 4 and doing weighted balls with his girlfriend. I'm like, I don't know. That's pretty extreme measures. We are taking, obviously, because some states, whereas my one friend is in the state and he said, oh yeah, like my PT is open. I'm getting my arm care there. I'm getting my throwing in. And where I'm at is in Florida right now. I'm in Tampa. I didn't go home to New York and New Jersey because literally nothing is open. And I wouldn't be able to really make contact or throw with any of the guys that are in that area. So I came here instead. But right now I have a pretty decent situation. I have a college kid who is in the area, pretty local. We both walk to the park and play catch, put on our hand sanitizer after.
Stand that 6 feet apart.
Yeah, we're 6 feet apart. If I hear him coughing, I just head home. No. But obviously, yeah, we don't want to get sick. The Angels send us are pretty good in keeping contact. They want to know if there are any players with any symptoms, and what they give us a really clear protocol if something had come up. But right now, for my current situation, getting my throwing in pretty normally given the warm weather here. However, the lifting is getting pretty difficult. I have my fiance here as well, and we're kind of doing workouts at night, and we have very limited things. We have a couple bands, a couple mini bands, and then like a few dumbbells. But so we just got to get pretty creative. But yeah, it's an uphill battle for the strength training, that's for sure.
Absolutely believe it. Just Riggs and I ended up actually trying to work out at our my girlfriend's parents' house in their basement, and all we really had was dumbbells and some cardio machines, and like I'm trying to do shoulder presses without actually having like a bench to sit on was so difficult.
Right, just sitting on your butt on carpet trying to do Arnold presses was just very uncomfortable.
Oh no, yeah, no, you got to just do dumbbell floor presses. Just lay on your back and try to pump them out there. But yeah, I feel like I was, trying to be like Rocky, like I'm going to go for a run, or like when he trains in the cold weather,
right?
The Russians. So I don't know. Yeah, we got to get creative though, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's definitely is hard. And I mean, speaking of like hard times right now too, Max. So obviously, I think it was April 6th was like the time period, but the rumor like swirling around was that minor league baseball players were only going to get paid for a short period of time due to the coronavirus. The little elaboration here, is that true? Is that just a rumor? And if so, how are you handling it?
I think I'm handling it okay. I'll take those. The first question is I'm handling it okay. I'm with family, and I am staying with my sister-in-law, fiance, and their 3 kids. So we're kind of just helping out with them, and the trade-off is, she's helping us. Given my situation, she's making food for me and helping me out. So, and I'm also holding up my end and trying to get my training in too. But you're definitely right about the financial. It's tough for some minor leaguers. They haven't been paid since I mean, last check was September 7th.
Oh wow!
In 2019, because we don't get paid in spring training. You mostly just get a little bit of a stipend or some walking around, some cash for meals, for meal money is what they call it.
See, that answered one of my questions. I had a question. Yeah, I had a question like, do they feed you guys pretty good? Do you get your like 3 square meals? Like, how does that work? But
yeah, and then we do get fed a bit. But to answer that other question is, I think that rumor that you're hearing is true. I think we're going to be taken care of from March 20th and we had been taken care of meal money wise prior to that, but March 20th to the 8th right now is the proposed deadline for just a little bit of pay we're going to be seeing. I'm not sure the correct amounts. I don't know if some clubs are handling it differently than others, but we will see some money, which would be okay. I mean, I'm not convinced most guys are spending much right now, as minor leaguers definitely know how to kind of scrape by in tough times. But
I believe it.
Yeah. Well, I've done some crazy stuff, and a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for sure. But
the struggle, yeah,
that and the ramen noodles, right?
Yeah. But to answer the other question about the food, they take pretty good care of us, and we don't spend that much in spring training. It's about a month to roughly 4 or 5 weeks we're there. They're giving us two meals a day, and $50 I think, or $40 a day roughly. maybe less than that, but it's basically you just need to cover your dinner, and as breakfast and lunch are paid for, and the Angels actually, I'm fortunate, they do give us housing too. They cover the housing, which is pretty good. So
that's awesome.
For spring training, some clubs don't do that, or they put you in hotels, or you can live out on your own. They'll give you live out money. They try to get creative as possible, but there's a major divide in terms of the pay between the MLB and the minor leagues, obviously, especially in spring training.
All right, awesome. And I mean, obviously, I tweeted out on Twitter regarding the fact that we will be having you on the show, and it appears that one of your teammates, Zach Kelly, ended up wanting this question answered as well. How many episodes of The Office do you watch during a full season?
I thought I saw that. Yeah, I go through. I mean, me and Zach have been teammates. I think now for two. This would have been our third year as teammates since he came over initially from Oakland. But we do crush a lot of The Office, especially at night. Try to keep it light. We're at the field from 12 to 11 o'clock. Playing baseball pretty locked in, especially if you're pitching that night. You just want something to fall asleep to. So I'd say I go through this one season, maybe one season, and towards the end of August, September, I'll recycle some of the same old episodes.
Dude, I was the same way when it came to the show Friends. I would fall asleep to it and just go through it over and over again. I completely understand it.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
That's wow. I got other shows I can do that with, but no disrespect, Friends is not one of them. I have a question. I have a question for you. So, how does the current postponement of baseball affect the rest of the season for you?
For me, that's a great question because I've been sitting here pondering that every day. I'm a starting pitcher. I'm someone who could provide length and innings, and if they go to this. Obviously, the players want to play as many games as possible so they can get more paid more as opposed to being paid in a prorated rate. But I think that, honestly, if this starts in June, potentially, that they can get like 130, 140 games in. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think they're going to be doing that by doubleheaders and getting creative with the scheduling and things like that. And believe me, players want to play a lot of games, and especially pitchers, because it affects everyone. It affects depth charts and service time and arbitration and the MLB draft. A lot of this stuff is going to be kind of a chain effect if we don't play a lot of those games or even play half of the season. It's going to be crazy. It's going to affect service time, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff circulating out there on Twitter, on the internet, like articles about potential ideas. But how it affects me is, I think I'm someone who can, if there are those double headers and if there are a lot of starts to be had and games in condensed time, that it could really impact me in a positive way. But just got to, as we said before, train and be ready to go whenever they do decide to get this thing going. Obviously, pretty much unprecedented times here, as we've never been in a situation like this before.
Right. I mean, this is just such a rare thing that's going on. And Max, one more question before we end up letting you go. And it's I kind of more so a lighthearted question, but how much longer until we see you in an Angels uniform? Let's put the coronavirus aside, but like ideally, how much longer until we end up seeing you in the MLB? Maybe even playing at Progressive Field, which isn't too far away from us down here in Cleveland.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love that question. It's a harder question, I think. But I gotta say, hopefully within the year, if not, hopefully sooner, because I am 26 years old. I am an undrafted, non-drafted free agent, and not being a prospect, the time is ticking for me. So I got to go out there and make the most of my opportunities, and hopefully really can press the envelope in the coming year.
Awesome,
man.
As for Progressive, I should have mentioned this earlier, but was previously a longtime Indians fan, as my brother played for the Indians in Progressive for a while. Spent a lot of time in the minor leagues and in the major leagues with the Indians. I think he played 11 years there. So would love to play there too and pitch on that mound where he played as well.
Awesome. That would definitely be waiting for that day. Max, thank you so much once again for not only just finding us, but willing to do an interview with us, and also just being enough of a genuine person that we're gonna help you grow a little bit. We'll talk about you a lot more, and hopefully the same would be to you. Hopefully your teammates find out a little bit of us, and definitely I think this is a good relationship that we end up having, and definitely, like I said, though, best of luck to you, and hopefully we end up seeing you at Progressive Field sometime in the near future.
Yes.
That'd be awesome. And, yeah, best of luck to you guys, too. I'll be listening to the podcast.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much again.
Thanks, buddy.
All righty. Have a good one.
You too,
Thanks,
man.
you too.
Be safe.
Peyton, how about that, man? That was pretty cool.
Thank you.
Pretty cool.
That just honestly like a freak coincidence too, because like out of nowhere I end up seeing like this guy follows me, and I'm like, all right, this guy has to be fake, right? So I end up seeing that its name's Max Herman, and I'm like, all right. His bio says like Rutgers University, plays for the Los Angeles Angels, and I'm like, he has like 600 Twitter followers. I'm like, that's a little weird. I'm like, maybe he's just not so big on social media, or else somebody just made this like fake account. And I ended up sending him a message, and it honestly seemed like a very dumb question, but my curiosity piqued, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, it says in your bio that you play for like the Angels, but like, do you really play for the Angels? And he was like, yeah, I played for the Angels. I played in AA and AAA last year, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Then I do a Google search too, and I pull him up on MLB, and I'm like, this dude is legit. I'm like, he's not just like somebody that just like found us, and he's not playing like independent baseball. Like, he is in the minor league system for the Angels. Like, the one thing that honestly had happened during the coronavirus could not have benefited us more, for not only the fact that we're actually able to have this phone interview on Redline Radio LLC live and have like the good quality compared to in the past trying to just do it at pretty much the house rig. So I mean, obviously you've heard the show before and heard the interviews and how it actually sounded like a pure phone line, but like we actually had a solid interview. You got to chip in a little bit, and I mean, we definitely had like a good time too. And like,
I didn't know what to say at first. I heard his voice. I'm like, oh shit, this is happening. Oh, okay.
Right, it's
like
a little bit of shell shock.
Right, like when do I got the confidence to jump in, but go now.
Hey, I wish you would have gave me a little bit more heads up, because I kind of feel bad. I was looking for his picture.
Right.
I'm like, man, this guy. And then when you said Angels, I typed in Angels, and it popped right up.
Found him right away. Yeah, I mean, I completely forgot about like the graphic idea, but like definitely a unique opportunity. But I mean, he brings up a good fact about service time when it comes to baseball too, and I kind of want to mention this too because we're all from Cleveland here. Francisco Lindor, I saw this on Twitter too. If the coronavirus ends up pretty much canceling the season, which nobody wants, I mean, before I ended up getting here, I was on Fox Sports Ohio, and they had the replay of the Seattle Mariners game from 2001 when the Indians came back being down.
They always show that. They fucking always show that.
But especially right now, though, when you actually need something like my baseball fix because I'm so out of it right now. I mean, I could play MLB The Show 20 all I want, but I'm not dropping $60 for one. But, like, it's not the same. A video game is not the same. But to pretty much Max's point, Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic stated that the latest MLB proposal includes the draft in 2020, will likely be later than June, and service time for players, if the season is canceled, they would have the same service time of 2019 as they did in 2020. So therefore, what that means is how Francisco Lindor is a free agent within the next 3 years as of now. He would also be a free agent in 3 years as of next year if the season is canceled as well, because there's no service time racked up. So he needs the service time. If he plays one game, it kind of fucks over Cleveland. So best case scenario, if you want him to stay long term and have the Indians negotiate that contract, as an Indians fan, might be a little bit petty, but I think you're going to end up wanting to actually have that season be canceled, although I don't see it happening. But that would be the best case scenario in my mind. But like Francisco Lindor, I mean, he has 2 to 3 more years. Imagine if all those teams that were trying to trade for him and the Indians didn't pull the trigger and they kept on trying to go for it, and the service time was kind of scary because of the season. Imagine all the missed opportunities for the Indians if this season doesn't count.
And some of us Cleveland fans will sit there and just say, well, only us. It always happens to us,
But it's not like, and I mean, Max even brings up a good point too. Like he was saying like how he's not able to go back home to New York, New Jersey. Well, like this coronavirus is right, like that is blowing up in New York, New Jersey.
We've been there. There's a lot of people.
We've been there.
That dirty ass subway fucking. Yeah, I can say fuck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that dirty subway, like that
You're
bathroom.
talking about the transportation, not the food, right?
Oh hell no, not the food, but no, just
that was really weird too. And then you also had the guy talking about his GoFundMe playing the guitar on the subway station too.
That dude was so fucking talented.
Oh, man.
He really was.
But like that as a whole though, like it's good to know that the minor league, like the Angels as a whole and the minor leagues, they have him covered enough to the point that you're able to genuinely actually live well. I mean, $40 for dinner. I mean, I don't even think I ate today. This quarantine thing is really fucking with me because I didn't even eat, I think, today.
All I've done is eat.
Like I've had times that I've like ate
I'm
a ton.
an asshole when I don't eat.
Your asshole eats?
No, I'm an asshole when I don't eat.
You just ate all the whole bag of orange.
Right, that's why I'm cool right now, but my back fucking hurts. But
why were you giving it up so easily? What what happened before we end up going to break though? Was it that you were shaking your dick too hard that you end up pulling your back?
My neck, my back, my pee on my forehead.
I thought you were going to say something about I pulled my dick too hard.
We'll work on that in the car right back to the house.
If we have time, I mean, you got to go in the back seat though, because that's 6-foot rule.
Oh yeah, right.
Social distancing. Remember, we have to act like we practice it.
Social distancing. But follow us on social medias. We Like Sports Podcast.
And then
Facebook.
YouTube too, which is the We Like Sports Podcast as well. But
Get
yeah,
a new mattress if your mattress fucking sucks. Like, don't be stubborn and cheap like me when you have the money. Get a new fucking mattress.
or else help out Riggs too, and
No,
kind of.
I got money for a mattress. I don't need no GoFundMe. I got money for a mattress. But dude, like, this shit is crazy.
Oh, man. But, Riggs, why don't you end up reading off one of the sponsors, and then we're going to end up heading to a quick break if you're able to get up there, Grandpa.
I got it. All right. Hustle Harder, Smith Sewer and Drain Cleaning, LLC. We do all your drain cleaning services. We guarantee all of our work, and we proudly offer a 10% discount to military, police, firefighters, and seniors. We are your local drain cleaning experts. That is Smith Harder. Yes, Smith Harder, Smith Sewer and Drain Cleaning LLC at 440-242-8704. One more time, 440-242-8704.
He nails the lube, but ends up mistaking, like, small words that are simple, like
Yeah, the lube, yeah,
like Jimmy.
mm-hmm.
But
gonna
anyways,
put- I'm
we're
gonna
going to
put the
take a
lube
quick
away.
break here. When we end up coming back, we're going to end up interviewing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan as well, talking about Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay, what the ideal thought is right there in Tampa as well. So we'll be back on the We Like Sports podcast after this.
To you.
And we are back to the We Like Sports podcast. Once again, we want to give a shout out and a thank you to our friends at Redline Radio, LLC, in the motherfucking house. I don't know why I came in like that, a little fast and aggressive. I'm Riggs. Peyton's also here in the house with us. Well, it has a roof. It has a bathroom. There's most likely a shower here, I bet.
A shower?
A shower.
A
Yes.
shower.
A shower. A shower.
So really quick though, don't mean to cut you off, but I did. So as mentioned, obviously you guys could see the t-shirts we have on, the We Like Sports merch shirts. You could go to teespring.com and then Google or search or whatever you do on Teespring, We Like Sports merch store, and you could see hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, crew necks, long sleeves, all that. Or else just contact us personally as well, and we'll end up hooking you up with a t-shirt. Obviously, there's a little bit of a charge, but definitely check it out. We would love the support as well. But as mentioned, we do have another guest coming in right now, as I end up messaging them to let them know when to call in, because that's what you do when you end up not having call waiting. But it's all good. We end up going around it. Hopefully he just ends up replying back rather quickly. But as mentioned last week, we ended up saying how Tom Brady is possibly with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Every time. It's awesome.
That ringtone is fucking sweet.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What's up?
What's up?
None much. Just this is the We Like Sports podcast with Peyton and Riggs, Redline Radio.
And you're calling the Graber Machine into a hotline. Can't forget that, Riggs.
Oh, yeah.
They pay big money for that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we do. Yeah, but I cannot forget about those guys right there. But other than that, how's everything going with you in this situation right now?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man.
No problem, man.
So, obviously, you're a Buccaneers fan. You could end up following him on Twitter at EverythingTB. Honestly, again, another kind of freak accident situation in which we end up getting an interview, kind of time crunched for it, wanted to have somebody talk about the Buccaneers, and for whatever reason, not too many Buccaneers fans were quite that interested. But thankfully, I ended up sending a tweet to @EverythingTB, and that's for Tampa Bay, not for Tom Brady, or at least it wasn't. That could have changed. But yeah, we ended up having a little bit of a message exchange, and now here we are, and we actually have a fan base member able to answer some questions regarding Tom Brady taking his talents to Tampa. So, as mentioned, first and foremost, how much of a shock was it when you found out the news that Tom Brady was officially coming to Tampa Bay? And did you hesitate to believe the news? Because at first we were kind of questioning the fact if it was actually true, because nothing was official for the time being, and it wasn't official until, I believe, Thursday or Friday. It took some time before it was official.
Yeah, I mean, it was so surreal as a Bucs fan to just find out the GOAT is coming down to Tampa Bay. And, yeah, for a couple of days, because all the coronavirus stuff, you couldn't really get a physical done. So a lot of people were thinking he was going to back out of it because Bucs fans, we got to be pessimistic based on our history. So it was so surreal, and I just still can't believe it. And instantly, hopefully, makes us contenders. And, I mean, haven't been to the playoffs in 13 years. And, I mean, we were dealing with Jameis. The fan base, lots of people liked him, but bringing in Tom Brady is just insane. And then there was word that other free agents were calling in to try to come, but obviously the cap situation's a little tight. But, yeah, I mean, Tom Brady is going to – and red and pewter is going to be insane to see. I can't believe it still.
I'm speechless for you guys still. And another question, too. What do you think was the appeal for Tom Brady to come to the Buccaneers? Because in my honest opinion, I thought if he leaves New England, he's going to a warm weather state to play football. And my thoughts were California or Florida, even though you have your Texas and your Arizona. But, you can't compare to California or Florida when it really comes to the weather and good football at this moment.
Yeah, I'd agree. Definitely Giselle probably had a say in it, Florida or California for sure. And, I mean, I think the biggest thing with Brady is he heard the critics last couple of years, and then everyone's saying, was it Belichick who made him? And, I mean, he has 43, so even if he has a bad year this year, we can't really blame him. But I think the biggest appeal of Tampa was definitely the weapons. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I mean, you can't get a better duo than that. And then, obviously, Bruce Arians is known as a QB whisperer, so he had to like coming in with him. And then the QB coach, Clyde Christensen, I think he knows Peyton Manning, so I'm sure Tom talked to Peyton at some point to get his viewpoint because Peyton did a similar situation going to Denver.
I actually forgot about that situation, too. Like, honestly, that's so far in the past that I actually forgot that Peyton Manning did play for the Broncos for, 3 seasons and ended up winning a Super Bowl championship too.
Yeah, that was bound to happen. Another question. This is probably might sound like a two-parter, but where do you believe Jameis Winston will go, and will he be a starter?
I mean, lots of Bucs fans were really avid about Jameis, and they all love him. So, I think he would fit in really well with the Steelers. And I mean, honestly, I think Big Ben's kind of on the outs here, so I would really like him to go to the Steelers, probably sit behind Big Ben for maybe 1 year, and then hopefully get another chance. Because personally, I believe Jameis does have enough to be a starter. I mean, he makes the throws, he's got the talent, but I mean, 25% of those throws go to the other team, and you just can't consistently win with that. And that just happened to be our issue the last 5 seasons.
Right. I'm sitting here with two Pittsburgh Steelers fans as I wear my orange and brown, and they were talking about that. They wouldn't mind having Jameis Winston sit behind Big Ben for a year or so, get to know the system, because why bring in a rookie in that situation? So just have a veteran that already knows the game, who's been in the league for a few years now, Jameis Winston. So why not?
Yeah, he's been in for a while.
I got a question for you. This is Dave, the producer. So if he was to come to Pittsburgh, Jameis, what can we look for? What's a positive and a negative with him? I know the negatives are the interceptions, but what's the positive? He's kind of like a poor man's Big Ben, I think.
That's a good question to ask him because he's local. So that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Jameis, you saw it at FSU. You've seen it in plays in Tampa. He's got the talent. Just his decision making is probably the worst in NFL history at this point. He can make tight spiral throws. He can launch it. He's surprisingly mobile, but just he's got to stop turning the ball over. And if the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, if he can get him just to think a little bit more, and maybe Big Ben, some leadership, some mentorship, I think Jameis has got a shot, but I don't know if he definitely won't be a starter anywhere next year based on how the offseason's played out with everybody.
And also too, this was a question we ended up pretty much asking ourselves earlier in the show, and it was regarding pretty much the quarterbacks, Jameis Winston and Cam Newton. Obviously, there might be a little bit of bias here because you had pretty much Winston in the past, so there's a little bit of bias possibly. But if you're the Steelers and you have the choice between Cam Newton and Jameis Winston as your backup, and possibly after Ben Roethlisberger retires, if there's a possibility of them becoming a franchise quarterback for Pittsburgh, who would you rather have at quarterback, Jameis Winston or Cam Newton?
Although I think Jameis would probably be a better scheme fit, I just can't go against Cam Newton. We all saw 2015 Cam, and he hasn't been healthy the last couple of seasons, and obviously last season he had his struggles at the start. But, I think, personally, I was glad Cam is out of the division now, because I thought Carolina made a mistake moving on from Cam. So I think Cam's still got potential, but I think he couldn't land in L.A. But if you could bring Cam Newton in as a backup, depending on the financials, that'd be great.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate that answer, too. Dude, really odd, too, that we were actually able to have that call back, too. But also with Tom Brady, switching gears and going back to Tom Brady himself, obviously on paper, no dig on a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan whatsoever, but it doesn't seem that it would be as appealing with the roster as is right now. But who else do you think will end up following Tom Brady to Tampa, if it's possible? Let's say cap space aside.
Obviously everyone's heard the rumors of Antonio Brown. So, you add that with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, best wide receiver core of all time, in my opinion. But I just don't. All the reporters say it's unlikely that Antonio Brown lands, but I think we'll look for a pass-catching back because Tom Brady obviously loves to dink and dunk it down low, and then probably a veteran safety, maybe Tony Jefferson from Baltimore, because he played with Bowles before. So I think it will be smaller, less notable guys. But Dion Lewis and Logan Ryan reached out to the Bucs, but the price tag might be too high, and obviously Dion Lewis landed with the Giants. So.
Right. And probably most likely our final question here for you, but what is your early expectations for the Bucs following the news of Tom Brady starting in 2020?
It's hard to say. I try to be as optimistic as I can, but obviously lifelong Bucs fan, you got to be a little pessimistic just to be realistic. But I really can hope this team can make the playoffs. The Saints in the division, it's going to be hard to win that for sure against Drew Brees, but expanding the playoffs to 7 teams, I think the Bucs should get in as a wild card. I don't see any way Tom Brady missing the playoffs as long as we shore up the offensive line and fill up some holes.
Okay, awesome.
Right,
and
awesome.
Obviously, just kind of to go back to with, you kind of answered it too with like the cap space issue. But if there's anybody that would be like, I guess, like a dream partner as a wide receiver or a tight end that's still in the league that would be possible, money aside, who ideally would you want to see in Tampa Bay alongside Brady? Outside of Antonio Brown, obviously, you ended up mentioning him, but who knows with how that is. And we ended up going on the conspiracy train in our last show saying that, was it Bill Belichick that wanted Antonio Brown out, and that's why Tom Brady ended up going to Tampa to actually have that pretty much have those two reunite again. But again, just to summarize from what I was saying, got a little bit off track, but who would be the dream pairing for wide receiver or tight end in Tampa Bay for you, though?
Well, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, then OJ and Cam at tight end, I think the best thing we still need is probably that just 10-yard type of throw, that short guy. So best situation, I'd probably say Julian Edelman, if he can find his way out of New England somehow to join Mike Evans and Chris Godwin would be insane. But yeah, Antonio Brown's probably my dream, but more and Edelman's probably a long shot as well. But if you could bring him in with Brady, I mean, that's his sidekick, and obviously they love each other and they have chemistry. So another winning type of culture to bring to the locker room couldn't hurt.
Awesome. Thank you so much again,
Thanks,
man, for calling in. We definitely appreciate the input from a Tampa Bay fan. Again, you could end up following him on Twitter at EverythingTB. And we'll definitely be talking to you in the future. Who knows what ends up happening with Tom Brady at the helm now for Tampa Bay. So thank you once again.
Best of luck.
All right, thank you so much for having me on, guys. Appreciate you. Love the show.
Hell yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So, again, I mean, 2 interviews, almost 2 hours in, not too bad.
Not too bad, good timing.
Makes life go a little bit easier without Keith being here for obvious reasons. But also, I mean, I want to end up hitting one more thing regarding football before we end up kind of changing gears and going over to college football and then the coronavirus itself. I know that's a word I've said pretty often. Riggs, I know how much money I owe if you're taking a tally, but
I swear to God, I lost count after like 7:45.
7:45, like the time or how many times I've said it.
How many times you said it? Like after oh, it's about okay, we're about to go live. Then it's like 8, 9. No, you didn't say like 8 or 9 times. Like after like the 4th or 5th.
All right, but anyways, Case Keenum is now the Browns' 1 out of 2 options for a quarterback for Cleveland. And Case Keenum had this to say about being ready to play. He said, if a baker's shoelace comes untied, I'm ready to go. Pretty much, if any mistake happens whatsoever, Case Keenum is ready to step up because he's had the experience, he's been there. And last week we were talking about the fact if Case Keenum was in here as a threat for Baker Mayfield, but now I think Case Keenum is proving the point that he is a threat because at any opportunity that Baker Mayfield fucks up, he will take over and try to lead that team. And I also believe, too, that Case Keenum was playing for the Redskins and was flip-flopping back and forth with Dwayne Haskins last year as well. So, obviously, yeah, he was with the Redskins. In 2019, he made 8 starts in 10 games. He had 247 pass attempts, 160 completions with a passer rating of 65%, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So, I mean, and also he has some postseason experience as well, playing for Minnesota in 2017. So, again, does this, Riggs, as a Browns fan, have a little bit of concern for you? Because
nope, not at all. It's telling Baker Mayfield, like, hey, yeah, you may be the best quarterback we've seen come through these doors in the last 5 years, but don't think you're hot shit because you can get away with getting a blowjob behind a Cheesecake Factory or now being on social media showing that you don't know what a fucking push-up is.
We're going there, yep.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, you're killing me. So, shape up or ship out, all pun intended to him right there in that situation. You just can't think that, oh, well, I got this job locked in. No, there's always going to be somebody bigger, better.
Do you think Baker's too confident?
Yeah, and I do believe that there's nothing wrong with confidence, but having too much confidence can break you. Or, yeah, like that's my Scott opinion. Too much confidence turns into cockiness.
And, I mean, isn't that kind of the appeal, though, of Baker Mayfield? I mean, I've made this comparison once or twice about Baker Mayfield similar to Johnny Manziel, but Baker Mayfield is different in the sense that he's able to back it up, at least in his rookie year, But in his sophomore season, do you think that cockiness and confidence just kind of made him more so a comparison of Johnny Manziel? I mean, you include the off-the-field antics. You include the blowies behind Cheesecake Factory. You include the fact that
Did that really happen?
Yes.
So that girl that was on that other radio station was telling the truth?
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we're going with, too, because Baker Mayfield never denied it either. So, I mean, if you're not denying it,
Right.
I mean, obviously, in the way that media works nowadays, once you hear a rumor, you end up denying that shit to the very end. And apparently, he didn't deny it. So, obviously, I think he has a little bit of pride there with what happened. And obviously, I do feel a little bit bad for his wife because he ends up pretty much not denying it. And, I mean, that fucks with your confidence, too, and the relationship as a whole. But this is a sports podcast, not a relationship podcast. So, I mean, it's just really weird, though. But, again, with the off-the-field antics, do you think
We got a call. Hello, thank you for calling We Like Sports podcast.
What's up, fellas?
What's going
What's
on?
going on?
Hey, Dave, man. What's up? It's Gary.
What's up? What's up, Gary? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm loving the show, dude. First time tuning in.
Awesome. We appreciate you tuning
Yes,
in.
thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. I know you tuned into my little thing this morning, man, so I wanted to repay the favor, man.
Hey.
Baker, absolutely. For the record, real quick, the only thing, Baker absolutely got his dick stuck behind the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, see, I'm surprised you didn't drink, Dave, because you would have spit that everywhere.
Without a doubt, man. So, hey, man, I'm a friend of Dave's, man. My name's Gary, dude. Nice to meet you guys, man, over the phone.
Nice to meet you, Gary.
Nice to meet you, Gary.
Also,
Get out and then meet up with you guys sometimes, man. I'm also in radio, so.
we'll
Nice.
definitely have to talk.
Hustle, man.
So earlier on in the show, too, we were talking about Baker Mayfield and the Cheesecake Factory because the Cheesecake Factory was trending on Twitter for whatever reason. And we ended up having our own flavors of, or our own themed cheesecake if we were Baker Mayfield. If you were in the same shoes as Baker Mayfield and you had the similar situation, what would you call your cheesecake?
What would I call my cheesecake?
Yep.
Oh, man, the double nut.
The double damn.
The Peanut Buster Parfait.
Absolutely,
wow.
man. Baker's got to get back in the gym and get off the commercials and get off the TV, man.
Yeah,
Easy to lose
completely agree.
focus in the NFL, right?
Yeah, I mean that he is an NFL quarterback. I mean, making money on the side and advertisements come with the territory, but also you can't have the backseat of being an NFL supposed star quarterback for the Browns pretty much on the sidelines because that's how you end up riding the bench and you end up seeing Case Keenum take your job.
Absolutely. That's how you end up in the XFL.
Huh.
Yeah, but to be fair though, the XFL is having a couple of players sign. I think the Steelers ended up signing 2 XFL guys, and
Nice.
Jordan Ta'amu, the St. Louis quarterback, St. Louis Roughnecks quarterback, ended up signing with the Chiefs, and the Houston Roughnecks, P.J. Walker, signed as a backup for the Panthers. So obviously you're seeing a little bit of traction there. Obviously you assume that they will be backups because they were in the XFL, and they also have Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina and Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. But, I mean, at least it's still the territory that they made it this far in a season in which they played, 6 to 7 games there in the NFL, and they actually have that NFL contract now.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
yeah.
I was going to ask you guys, I heard you talking quarterbacks earlier, man. I mean, what is Tennessee? How does Tannehill get $62 million guaranteed?
Is that his contract? I didn't
Yes.
even see his contract. That's
Damn.
ridiculous.
$62 million guaranteed. Yes.
Guaranteed money.
Maybe because they said, we didn't expect us to beat New England, so that they're probably riding off that high. Like, hey, we took out Tom Brady, so
And he was balling out there in Tennessee.
He definitely
beat us week 1.
But that was without Tannehill. That was with Mariota.
Oh, see, damn, I forgot about Mariota
I
even
mean,
existing.
$62 million is a lot of money, though, to just hang on Derrick Henry's nutsack, right?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah, you're 100% right. $62 million, and for his whole entire long-term contract, if he ends up surviving the 4 years, he gets $118 million. That's crazy. And
there's so many
according to
stuff like that.
Spotrac, they have $91 million guaranteed for Tannehill. So
Holy shit.
So that makes me wonder even more. And I mean, obviously, you have your sources in Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, but $91 million on Spotrac, which whenever it comes to contracts, that's always who I go to check that contract. But it makes me wonder what exactly is going on. Because if it was Marcus Mariota that ended up doing the same thing, there's no way in hell that he has the same damn contract.
No.
Right.
I believe. So who Tennessee played? New England, right?
Yep, in the first
In
round.
the playoffs, and then
Baltimore.
Yep, Baltimore.
Baltimore?
And then they lost to Kansas City in like a
And then
shootout.
So I mean, in the first two of those games, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he completed 23, 24 passes, maybe a few more.
I want to say in like the first two games against New England and against Baltimore, I want to say he had a combined like 24 passes because he had like 8 attempts against New England and then he had like 12 to 13 against Baltimore.
Yeah, that's insane money for that kind of production. I will say I'm not a Steelers fan. I'm a huge Brown fan. I'm sitting in my Browns room, but Cam to the Steelers, not a bad idea.
Do you think obviously Case Keenum, if he ends up, let's say Baker Mayfield fizzles out and he never gets back into shape and he hangs out behind the Cheesecake Factory in either Westlake or wherever. So let's say Case Keenum ends up stepping up this year, but you only have him for a short period of time. Would you want to see somebody like Cam Newton in a Browns uniform instead?
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know. That's a curse. Whoever was going to say no, I think I'm with you there.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's been. Being a Browns fan is a full-time job, man, since '87, right? '88.
Yeah, I was. So my whole life, I was born that year. So yeah,
absolutely. So they thought they had the right guy. I still think there's a hope that they do have the right guy, but I think Baker got blown up too quick, and I think the blueprint to get back to how to be a quarterback in the NFL. A lot of these young guys just need to go back and watch Peyton Manning.
They need to have more so of the pocket presence, so to speak, instead of the Russell Wilsons, Cam Newtons, scrambling type
Deshaun
quarterback.
Watson, right?
Yeah.
Like Lamar Jackson.
And even Baker's first year, right? What do you end up playing his first year? 12 games? 13?
13 games.
Yeah, because Tyrod got hurt.
Well, like 12 and a half because 13 he started 12 games, but 13 he played in because he came in that middle of the Jets game.
The Jets game, right? The night they won.
Yep.
Okay, so you take those, and if you really look at that season and watch those games, he wasn't afraid to take off. And this year, it seemed like if you watch real close, everything he wanted to, he just didn't play on instinct, which I think he did a lot of at Oklahoma, and I think he did a lot of his rookie year. And this year, I think he just took a lot more bigger hits. He sat back there more, trying to make the pass instead of just being a playmaker.
That
I think it hurt him. It caught up to him.
Right, and the whole hype with us being on Sports Illustrated,
and
having Odell Beckham Jr.,
having Odell and Jarvis, just the whole hype. And like when Tennessee whooped our ass week 1, what did Derrick Henry say? They are who we thought they were. If you want to go ahead and crown them, go ahead and crown. And all the Browns fans were mad about that. And I'm like, no, like he's talking shit, but he told the truth. Like the media and the fans drinking the Kool-Aid was the ones crowning us already. Like, oh, we're gonna go 10-6, 12-4. I was like, I'll be happy we be 8-8, dude.
Yeah,
because 0-16 fucking hurt.
That hurt.
That hurt.
The one win hurt. 1 and 31.
Oh yeah,
that's brutal.
I think Hugh Jackson as a whole hurt.
Oh man, Hugh Jackson. That whole era, regime, whatever you want to call it, right there. It almost set us back. With a few good draft picks in there, the Nick Chubb draft pick, genius.
Oh hell yeah, yes,
100%. And I mean that's coming from somebody that's not even a Browns fan, but I could realize the fact that they actually made a good choice with Nick Chubb, and then they also had I want to say they had like 2 different draft picks. Like it was Nick Chubb, and then like 2 picks later they had another good draft pick. I want to say maybe Njoku, but I feel like that might be wrong.
I thought it was the lineman.
Oh, Austin Corbett, maybe.
Wasn't it Corbett? And he didn't really pan out, but it wasn't a bad pick at the time because you still went after a need.
Right, exactly.
So hey, fellas, I appreciate the time, man. I got a couple local radio stations. I won't plug myself out here in Lorain County. You guys ever need to get together, man? I do some marketing counseling for them and produce some commercials and anything like that. Appreciate your hustle, man. Anything I could ever do to help out, get with Dave, man, and get my number, and maybe we'll all get together and grab some wings one night when all this shit's done.
Awesome. That sounds great.
I like that.
All right?
All right.
Dave, don't tell them about my racing career, man. I had the shortest racing career in the history of the Lorain County Speedway.
Uh-oh.
I definitely won't, Gary, but it's nice talking to you, man, and retouching base with you. We got to get together.
You got it, man. Have a good night, guys.
Yep.
You too. Thanks for calling in.
All right, man. Yep, I have. All right.
All right. I mean, obviously we went a little bit over there for break, but we're going to take one more final break, and then when we come back, Riggs, what do you want to talk about?
Right now, before we go to break, I want to talk about Millsy Motorsports, 43 Pierce Avenue, West Carrollton, Ohio, 45449 at 937-671-7345. Owner is Mike Miller. No relation, most likely, to the NBA player. Former NBA player. Your GM front wheel drive performance specialist. Our service include dyno turning, PCM programming, custom fabrication, performance parts, engine building, cylinder head portioning, maintenance, and engine swaps. American Muscle Reborn. That's Millsy Motorsports at 937-671-7345. Owner Mike. And we are back to the We Like Sports podcast with myself, Wiggs, Peyton. Our producer Dave is also here with us. So what are we going to jump into this time, guys?
So why don't we end up talking about the coronavirus? Just because the 2020, this is very, very odd in my opinion. The 2020, I believe it would be the Summer Olympics. According to Dick Pound, remember that name, Riggs?
Yes,
Dick Pound?
I do.
That was your favorite name.
Yeah, that's funny.
Also, coincidentally, the girl that Baker Mayfield was with, her name was Dick Pound as well. That was a joke.
I know. I was trying to think of an oral name for her.
Oral Hershiser.
There you go. Yup.
Former Indians pitcher, but Baker was the catcher in this situation. Oh man, there's so many puns that you could keep on going on to. But anyways, the 2020 Olympics have been postponed.
Womp womp womp. Yeah, I've seen that when I woke up on the news. They were talking about that on the local news up here.
So, here's my question though. If it's postponed, does this mean, obviously the Olympics were every 4 years. If this gets postponed until 2021, does that mean that every 4 years would be 2025 and 2029, or would it mean 2021, 2024, 2028? Like, how does that mess up the sequence? Because it definitely is a little bit interesting due to the fact that this is something, I believe, the first time that the Olympics have gotten postponed ever. Don't quote me on that because I don't follow the Olympics strictly, but the fact that the Olympics are postponed for 2020, definitely I have some questions for it. So, obviously they were, I believe, in Japan. So, China and Japan, they're a little bit of distance apart, but with everything going on, it would be safe that if you don't have the COVID, stay away from the COVID.
Yes, stay far away until we get the word from, the man on like, hey, let's get back to life. Let's do this. Me, honestly, now this is real life. It's not a movie. It's not wrestling. I'm thinking, and hear me out now. What if this is all? We were talking about this on the way to the gym. What if this is all healed up before Independence Day or on Independence Day, and then you have America celebrating like, oh, we overcame this, and Yeah, it was 90 days of hell, but America, damn it. Now let's go out and buy beer and fireworks and grilling food. No, we already got our grilling food because guess what? We stocked up on this shit in fucking early March for it. I hope me too. We'll figure that out. I hope this doesn't go until Independence Day, but that's just me, you know, watching too many TV shows and wrestling matches with storylines because I'm not working right now because of it.
I am no longer working either, so I feel your pain. I work at the mall. I do work at GNC. So with that news, I believe the mall is still fucking open. So the fact that they're still open, they have like 5 stores left. We weren't making dick because nobody wants to come out, and therefore I got laid off for the time being. You know what pisses me off too, Riggs?
What pisses you off?
I actually enjoy this job now.
No,
I'm not selling windows anymore, and I don't hate my life, and I actually want to go to work. And honestly, if this happened last year when I was at said window company and I was, let's say, same exact situation, I think I would have the possibility that I actually realize that I actually don't mind that job. I don't like it. I don't like what they do. I don't like what they stand for, but that's a year later. Mm-hmm. If this was last year and this same thing happened, I think I would appreciate that job because for any of you guys that are still working out there, you're making money. You're making the world go around. I'm sitting on my ass at home. I'm bored.
Yeah, and I'm getting irritated.
There's not too much to do.
And I'm wondering how the hell can a broke motherfucker do this every single day and be okay with this?
Like, there's not too much to do. And, I mean...
How did a housewife survive in the fucking 50s?
And I mean, there's, wrestling is the only thing going on right now, and there's no crowd. That's not normal. Crowds are, fans and crowds are the pure point to entertainment.
Yeah, we're the energy, rather we're mumbling and paying attention to your match, or you bring the ball up the field or the court or the pitch being thrown, we're still there and we still have an eye on you, just the energy of the crowd and the audience of the people. I applaud the professional wrestlers out here entertaining in front of
absolutely nobody
or maybe 10 people like we've been seeing lately, because me, honestly, that would throw my game off. Some of them come from bingo halls or whatnot, wrestling in front of 10 people, 5 people, maybe even 3 people, but absolutely just pure silence. That would throw my whole equilibrium off. I would feel like I'm auditioning for a movie role or something.
What did that movie be?
Why Did I Become a Wrestler Part 2 feature Medea. I don't know, that's what it is.
God. So, I mean, going back to the coronavirus, too. So, Karl Anthony Towns, and this is kind of geared towards the fact that it's becoming real. Because not only is, it's just a cold, it's just the flu, it's just this, it's just that, it's not real, it's the government, it's this, it's fake. Karl Anthony Towns came out last night on social media and said that his mom has been diagnosed with the coronavirus and is now in a medically induced coma. So if that, again, guys, I've been saying it the last few episodes, just wash your goddamn hands. Wash your hands. Practice social distancing. I mean,
this might make people not want to be around people. When it's all said and done,
for the long term, who knows how crowds will go?
Exactly.
Are we going to go to a sporting event still? Yes, but is everybody else everybody's everything clears up. The bars are going to be packed, and everybody's going to drink like they're 21, and the Indians games are going to be sold out. And it's who exactly says that they're going to want to be shoulder to shoulder with somebody that may or may not have the virus and not be scared?
Exactly. What if germaphobe Jenny, who was a germaphobe, now after this epidemic happens, it's all said, she might be a bigger germaphobe now. You know what I'm saying? There might be people, I bring a set of gloves with me when I'm out in public just in case I dap somebody up or shake their hands, or, hey, I don't do oral unless you're wearing protection down there, or, hey, don't touch my shoulder.
That took a weird turn.
I mean, but
you're talking about going out in public and every usual contact, and you're I'm not gonna give you oral unless if you wear gloves.
Or who knows? I mean, this might make people even weirder towards one another. how you accidentally talk to somebody and a little bit of spit comes off your bottom lip.
Yep.
Someone might lose their fucking mind after all this now. Like,
Is that what happened when you were shaking your shit?
it didn't hit my lip, it hit my forehead.
No, but like, were you talking to somebody and like you spit on them and then
No.
called them a dirty girl?
No. That's nasty.
Took a weird turn. This podcast is getting off.
You
the
took a
rails.
180. I looked in my mirror. You said, no, fuck this.
Took a 480. Yeah.
See
but,
what you did there.
Anyways, though, going back to the coronavirus, obviously Max did mention this a little bit, but Mark Shapiro, it's a AAA belt.
Oh, I see it.
But Mark Shapiro, who used to be the former Indians general manager, that is now the Blue Jays general manager. I cannot say general manager. He says that the MLB would likely need a month of workouts and exhibition games before the season gets started. So essentially, you're getting spring training 2.0.
I mean, you don't want people complacent and, but like we were talking about once again, coming back from our makeshift secret location gym, if these guys are smart millionaire baseball players, you have a private gym in your own house.
All right, I give AEW credit because they literally have people that are like pictures in the fucking crowd. Like that's kind of funny. Like they're going above and beyond. AEW, I mean, I don't care who wins the war between NXT or WWE and All Elite Wrestling, but All Elite Wrestling is giving a little bit more compared to WWE. Like, they're trying to make at least something in the seats. But
big facts. But what were you just saying?
We were talking about baseball and how spring training 2.0 may or may not need to happen.
Like if some of those guys are smart, then they have gyms and they're using them right now. Like I said, if I was a professional athlete and I didn't have a gym in my house, I'm finding somebody in my suburban development that most likely has one, or go to a team member's house and going to use theirs. Because as a manager, you got to think of my boys just sitting at home getting fucking fat. Like, what are they doing?
But I mean, if you have I feel like that shouldn't be a concern just due to the fact that you're an adult and you're getting paid to play a kid's game. Like, and that's nothing against our athletes out there either, but like, you're getting paid to play a game. You should at least do your part and stay in shape whatever way you can. Even if it is with bands and just working out and with bands, you could do a chest exercise. You could work your arm. You could throw essentially a simulated game with the same motion of throwing a fastball over your shoulder because you have a band. Like Max ended up mentioning, like, he's playing catch with a weighted ball with his fiance. My one friend that I went to school with is playing catch with a regular baseball with his wife. I almost said fiance, but they got married. But they're doing everything they can to stay loose. Because you know what happens when you don't stay loose? You've seen a baseball game before when there's a rain delay and that same pitcher doesn't stay in. What reason do they not stay in for? Because they couldn't stay loose.
Yep.
And that's when injuries happen. And I don't want to talk about the coronavirus anymore. I do want to hit on one more topic before we end up wrapping things up here. Going back to your sanitation thing, wrapping things up. That's a condom joke.
No, I got it.
And for those of you guys tuning in at home, that was a condom joke. But so Clemson quarterback, a little bit of a backstory. So obviously you know that in college that for the longest time you were not able to pretty much have fundraisers, take handouts, give handouts, blah, blah, blah. And you weren't allowed this, and you weren't able to make money off of your name, and that's why NCAA football got canceled until hopefully this next year. But anyways, Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence and his girlfriend started a GoFundMe page for coronavirus victims, and the NCAA shut it down originally. Because mainly the fact of the matter being that they're trying to raise money. They're trying to make money. Who knows what it goes to? But the NCAA eventually down the line allowed the GoFundMe page because they realized that there's a time and a place. But obviously, I guess the question is like, especially in NCAA football, when there's a set of rules, is now the possible time that set of rules actually matter, or are you able to kind of accustom those rules because there's a time and a place and there's a crisis going on?
I like that. There's a time and a place, and there's a crisis going on right now. So it's not like he's playing at the moment and he's asking for a GoFundMe account. You know, like we're talking about, some of these guys are struggling. Like, it's none of our, and that's another thing I don't like. I don't like that they tell us how much these guys make. It's none of our fucking business. You know, the guy that's making $91 million during this, you know, coronavirus, him and his family, they're going to be okay for a little bit until he goes back to work. But the guy making $250,000 or a little bit more than that, the guy that's not even touched $1 million, you know, he actually might need it. You know, a little, I mean, who knows? It depends on your situation, how good you're at financing your own money. But
so David Burns ended up commenting on our live stream too, and ended up saying that he is watching from Cedar Hill, Texas. So shout out to Cedar Hill, Texas, and David.
David, thank you.
Appreciate you for tuning in. But Riggs, going back to your point though, when you say that number figure that they're throwing out, are you saying all professional athletes, like, that shouldn't be any of our business how much money they're making, or are you saying in general, like, that is why college players are more hungry to make money and make money off of their name? Because advertisements, contracts, for instance, go back to Ryan Tannehill. He's getting $91 million guaranteed. Is that making Trevor Lawrence, somebody that should be drafted in the NFL draft in 2021, that much more hungry to become an NFL quarterback because he knows how much money is there in that sport?
Right, and it also can make a guy, oh, okay, well, if he's getting this much, I feel like I'm better than him. I want this much. And then snap back to reality, they're not that good, and then now they're upset that they didn't make the big money, or they're bad with finances. And I don't know, if someone said like, oh, Riggs is making $91 million and the 4-letter network put it out there, I'm going to be pissed off. Like, that's none of their business. Like, what if I'm walking, I don't have a dog, but what if I'm on the porch with my cat and someone's like, hey, $91 million man, and then they want to fight me or rob me or worse?
Similar to Tristan Thompson and his $80 million for a 4-year contract, and everybody called him $80 million and 80 mil.
Exactly, right. Like, that's, like, I don't know, like, that's just, some things are just none of our business, and that's, to me, that's one of them. Like, and I don't want to sound, you know, like an after-school special, but if people that go overseas that get shot and killed are not making $91 million, then why is this schmuck doing it? But that's a conversation for another day.
Well, I mean, speaking of schmucks, Mitch Trubisky is signed to a 4-year contract, and this is why I like the concept of having money, being able to actually see how much they're making, because it makes you value the dollar just because how much is, so to speak, I guess to use a cliche, is the juice worth the squeeze? So is the juice worth the squeeze in Mitch Trubisky, 4 years, $29 million, and he's getting guaranteed $29 million with a signing bonus of $19 million. And they still have him until 2022, I believe, or 2021. But he could end up making, I'm seeing something here, according to Forbes, that he could end up getting a huge contract and getting a 4-year, $134 million contract with $110 million guaranteed early in 2019. Obviously, that didn't happen because he fell apart. But, I mean, when you see that and you end up comparing statistics along with dollar signs, it makes you wonder what exactly is worth that player. Like Mitch Trubisky to the Patriots. Obviously, he would love to play with New England because he's not that good right now. He needs that. Money doesn't matter. Your career, you make more money if you have a longer career and longevity. And that's the bottom line.
Because the We Like Sports podcast said so. God. I had to. I'm sorry.
And I mean, again, other sports news out there. I mean, Dave ended up mentioning it too, that the Clippers owner announced that he has purchased the Forum for $400 million. That'd be the new stadium that they end up playing in the near future.
$400 million.
Right.
Damn,
like
dude.
like I said, give me $700,000, dude, and it's not wow.
It says that So here's the anti-competitive controversy according to Wikipedia.com. Take the news as you will. But in March 2020, Steve Ballmer purchased a Forum for $400 million, ending the lawsuit. The Forum will continue to host concerts, and all venue employees who held jobs under the Madison Square Garden Company were offered jobs by Ballmer. So I guess that's kind of a cohesive unit. So he not only created jobs, but, I mean, think about that. When you're playing at the Staples Center with the Lakers and the Clippers, you're playing in the same area, having the same workers probably. Do you think that the Clippers actually becoming a better team, and I mean, obviously ownership has something to do with this as well, but do you think that possibility of them playing in the same stadium at the Staples Center, same arena, if they didn't get better, that they wouldn't care? But now that they have two good teams in LA, they kind of want to profit on that area because you obviously have Clippers fans and you have Lakers fans. Sometimes that does carry over.
Right.
But you actually have that home field advantage now.
I heard something today about if the Lakers didn't find their own way out of the Staples Center, that they were going to be the new Seattle Supersonics and move to Seattle.
No fucking way.
Because Ballmer tried to build another venue in Inglewood with the Forum being there, and they didn't want another thing that brings in money. They didn't want to tax two things, so that's why he bought the Forum. But, I mean, they're probably going to play basketball there in 2023 because their lease is up at the Staples Center. They still got to do that unless he wants to buy out of that.
He said that according to Wikipedia, again, trust the news as you want, but the Clippers' current lease at the Staples Center expires in 2024.
Or 2024.
So, I mean, and again, does mention the fact that he wanted to build a new arena close to the Forum. But, I mean, obviously, as a business person, looking at it from a business perspective, I personally think it's just because of the fact that they have two successful LA teams. You have two LA teams essentially playing in the same stadium for football, the Chargers and the Rams, that you have to eventually separate the two together. And I think that's the main reasoning why.
Yeah, and I mean, not just that they're both good teams. The Clippers are showing independence, because when I look at Staples Center, first thing I think of Kobe and Shaq. I think of the Lakers. I don't really think of the Clippers. I feel like the Clippers should have their own independence, have their own. And this is me hating on California, but
didn't you just say you loved California, or was that Miami?
No, I don't know. This is me hating on California because they have everything possible that happens good for them. Move the Clippers to Seattle.
They're not going to do that.
I know they're not going to do that, but they don't need that.
Seattle get a team, and we'll probably, now that they have the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, you'll probably get two teams out west, and then they'll reconfigure the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's happened recently too, with the fact that you had Houston jump from the NL to the AL. So I mean, obviously, reconfiguring divisions and setting that up from that perspective, obviously it takes some time. But if you could do one team in the Eastern Conference, one team in the Western Conference, you have an even amount of teams, and then you have 34 teams, and that's the only way it works. Because if you bring in one, it's kind of like math with algebra. I fucking hate algebra, but whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other to make an even division, even conference. But Riggs, it's about our time to go.
It is.
How about you end up reading one more sponsor as well?
Detroit Auto Parts, West Side, 4941 Pearl Road, Cleveland, Ohio. 216-398-7373. That is Detroit Auto Parts at 216-398-7373.
All right. I mean, that's it for the We Like Sports podcast this time around. Make sure to catch us on Wednesday, 7:30 to 9:30 on Redline Radio LLC. Also, catch the replay on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, and Anchor.fm. The We Like Sports podcast, 9 a.m. Thursday mornings, and also YouTube, which would be the We Like Sports podcast. So we'll definitely see you guys next week. Stay healthy out there. Stay clean. Wash your hands. Wash your ass.
Get a new mattress.
That too. And we'll see you next week, hopefully with Keith and maybe with Austin. We'll stay tuned for that. But obviously with the crisis, everything's up in the air. As long as I'm Riggs and he's Peyton, we're good to go.
Good to go. Take care.